Project description: middle-aged commercial truck instructor seeks public funds to cross nation by horse because modern life has jackknifed across the highway of his soul. No. Bad. Possibly accurate, but bad. Project description: across Canada equestrian charity ride raising awareness and funds for North American wild horse preservation, connecting communities through environmental education, cultural respect, and public engagement. That sounded almost like an adult had written it. Wild horses. The idea warmed. Sable Island. There it was. The Sable Island horses had lived in his imagination since childhood. Shaggy, tough, wind-shaped animals on a strip of sand in the Atlantic, surviving where survival itself seemed like an act of defiance. There were other wild horse populations too, scattered stories of freedom, controversy, ecology, romance, management, myth. People fought over what they meant. Were they invasive? Heritage? Symbols? Problems? Survivors? All of the above probably because the world enjoyed refusing simple answers. A charity ride for wild horses. From St. John's to Campbell River. He laughed again, but this time there was fear in it. The goose took one step away, sensibly. Yeah, Topher said. I'd move too. He pulled his phone from his pocket with cold fingers and opened a notes app. The screen reflected his face back at him, scruffy, wind-reddened, eyes too bright. He typed, horse ride across Canada, wild horse charity, St. John's to Campbell River, need horse, need dog, need funding, need company. He stared at the last line. Company. No chance he should do this alone. That would be unsafe, impractical, and too revealing. Alone, he might quit. Alone, he might succeed and have no one to argue with about it. Alone, he would become unbearable, and he was already operating close to quota. He needed Iron. The thought made him grin. Iron Wyman, whom he had met in high school through Barb, because all truly consequential friendships began with someone saying, "You two idiots should meet." Iron, 6'1", solid, athletic brown eyes, long brown and gray hair thinning in ways he mocked before anyone else could. A pacifist who had trained in martial arts, judo, and boxing, because contradiction was apparently a lifestyle. A man who loved animals, nature, puns, sarcasm, irony, bad jokes, good coffee, and telling the truth in a tone that made it sound like an insult. Iron lived in Victoria with Ali, which meant Topher would have to convince him from across the country. Ali would be harder. Not because she lacked adventure. Ali had more useful courage than both men combined. She hiked, camped, kayaked, gardened, read, built things, fixed things, made art, handled tools, inventory, books, hardware stores, joinery work, and grief. Her father had died by suicide when she was 14, and life had taught her early that survival required both tenderness and a working flashlight. She would see the holes. That was the danger. Iron might mock the idea for sport. Ali would ask about insurance, horse rotation, feed supply, route permissions, emergency evacuation, winter travel, medical care, cat logistics, and whether Topher had mistaken vision for unfunded liability. The cats. Topher closed his eyes. Nova, Trixie, and Max. 3 cats who traveled with Iron and Ali because apparently domestic animals could become constitutional law if indulged long enough. Nova was a tortoiseshell queen with the stare of a disappointed magistrate. Trixie, the tuxedo, was clever in the way burglars were clever. Max, orange and white, had the warm, dumb beauty of a creature protected from consequences by charm and low expectations. Could cats cross Canada by horse convoy? No, obviously no, which meant Iron and Ali would insist yes. Topher typed, problem, cats. Then, solution, unknown. Possibly wagon, cat panniers, tiny helmets. He deleted tiny helmets, then put it back. A runner approached on the path, ponytail swinging, breath white in the cold. Topher lowered the joint and angled away. The runner passed without incident. The goose hissed. At her or me? Topher asked. The goose declined to clarify. The radio crackled as the song faded. A news bulletin replaced it, the announcer's voice clipped and professional, carrying the faint strain that news voices acquired when trying not to sound frightened. Officials continue to monitor cyber activity targeting energy and transport infrastructure across several NATO countries. In the Persian Gulf, naval patrols remain on heightened alert following last week's confrontation involving American and Iranian vessels. Defense analysts warn that while both sides continue to call for restraint, Topher reached over and turned the volume down, not off, just down.